Here with us for this week's Almond Matters segment, we're joined by Todd Burkdoll, Field Market Development Specialist with Valent U.S.A. And today we're following up on our conversation about mites, and since temperatures are heating up pretty quickly here as we pass the midpoint in May, Todd, talk to us about the importance of getting on those mitigation programs now and in the coming weeks here.
Well, as the temperatures heat up, the potential for mite propagation is definitely there. So you need to be monitoring, checking your fields. First sign of females laying eggs, pull the trigger, shoot them. And, it's better to get them before they get you. So if you use product like Zeal early on, like that, when they're laying eggs, not only does the female's eggs sterile, but the eggs won't hatch that are sprayed that actually have been already laid. And the nymphs that are growing out there will not molt to the next stage. So you basically take out the entire population early on by doing that. Whereas waiting, you run the risk of having a forest fire you can't put out, or maybe you can put out, but it just takes a lot more energy to do it. So I always recommend going early with products like Zeal to take out the eggs and the overwintering females, makes them, sterilizes them, and then the first nymphs have hatched, it stops them. They don't go on to the next stage, and so you basically annihilate that whole first generation.
And in terms of your scouting, what are you looking for out in the orchards? What's the threshold, or what indicators are growers looking for?
Well, I'd probably take a little more conservative approach than maybe some others, that want to wait. But if you see mice and the temperatures, you look at the forecast for weather first. The temperature's going to be going up. We've had a history of mites before, or in previous years, and really those dynamics haven't changed much. And then you look for actual mites on the leaves. And when I first see overwintering females that are coming out and laying eggs, pull the trigger. I shoot. You got something to shoot at, so shoot them then while you got something. And it's a lot easier to get them then when it is like when there's millions of them out there. Keep in mind with any of these products, you got to get good coverage. So go slow, do a thorough job on the first application, and you won't have to, spend so much time doing catch up later on down the road. I'm a firm believer in really getting good coverage. To the degree you get coverage is to the degree you will get kill. And so getting good coverage equates directly to good kill.
And with coverage being so important there, what's going to be a good approach or good program to implement to really maximize those applications?
A little bit of spreader, can really enhance the spray application. You don't want to go too much where everything's dripping off on the ground, but you want to spray to get 99 to 100% coverage on the leaf. So going slow with a spreader in the tank is always recommended. You can go with a light oil if the temperatures aren't too high. I recommend spraying at night because I think you get sort of dry time, and if you can go slow at night, it's always better to get that slower drying time and get the product into the plant on the mites on the leaves and get a real good kill. That's one of the biggest problems I see is people going too fast, not getting good coverage, trying to get across too many acres in a short amount of time. And by doing so, the application is compromised, the coverage is compromised in the application, and they don't get the results that they need to get. Keep in mind, these are contact materials. You need to spray them. They're not, most of them are not, none that I know are systemic. So getting them on and getting good coverage is very, very important to getting good kill.
So, while, maybe it takes a little longer to get those applications out there by going slow, really growers are going to be best served, in limiting the potential for having to go back out there again. And now with an added cost of more material and more labor.
That's exactly right. Yeah. My dad always said, if you're going to do something, do it right. And I tended to be always in a hurry to get it done so I could go play. And when you're going after mites or any disease or insect pathogen, going on, getting good coverage, slowing down, less than 2 miles an hour if possible. A lot of guys balk at that because they say it takes too long to get across in labor. And I understand that with labor, the increases in labor and time, and, diesel fuels at an all-time high. But going really slow really makes a difference on getting good coverage, getting good kill, and ensuring good coverage.
So getting in front of those populations is definitely going to be critical here as the weather heats up and the potential for mite infestation really really ramps up as well. And in the event those preventative actions, aren't as effective as intended, or populations just start to build up maybe later in the season, what's going to be the approach there?
Probably I'm going to go in there with a contact material, maybe do a sequential application depending on how far gone it is, how far it's gotten out of hand. Keep in mind, if it gets out of hand, it's something you did do up front. You weren't watching the field. Take notice of the edges where they first start dusty areas. Those are areas where you'll first see the mite population start to move out, and they'll move out from the older to the younger leaves. And as they do, it's the interior leaves, check those leaves. And if you find them there, then again, if you got something to shoot at, shoot, and make sure you get good coverage. Make sure you hit what you're shooting at, and you'll be a lot better off than trying to go in there and blast them out later when they've already done damage and it's a raging forest fire of mites.
So growers will want to keep that in mind here, getting out in front of mite problems and making sure they're taking the time to really get adequate coverage there. And again, Todd Burkdoll with Valent U.S.A. Always appreciate the insight here, and we'll be talking again soon.
All right, buddy. Take care. Thank you.